This is a message for Christian women. In 1 Corinthians 7:19, it says, "Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of Jehovah." You have to circumcise your heart towards obedience by following Yeshua and keeping Jehovah's 10 commandments that were written on 2 tables of stone by his finger. Exodus 20, Deuteronomy 5, Exodus 31:18. In Deuteronomy 10:16, it says to circumcise the foreskin of your heart, to be no more stiff-necked. Stop being a rebellious child that has your eyes and ears shut to the truth. Come to Jehovah with a humble and contrite spirit that fears and trembles at his word, that desires to do his will, to be a pleasing aroma in his sight. In Deuteronomy 30, verse 6, it says, "And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live." And this is when you go back to Deuteronomy 6, 1 through 5, because it says, "Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments, which the Lord Jehovah your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land, whither you go to possess it, that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God," which is an idiom for keeping the commandments, "to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that you may increase mightily, as the Lord Jehovah of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord Jehovah our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God." So going with Deuteronomy 30, "with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might." To love the Lord your God is to keep his commandments, to have a burden for souls, to find his people, to meditate on his word day in and day out. And in Revelation 22:14, it says, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city." You have to keep his commandments in order to make it to New Jerusalem. And you have to teach others to do so. Circumcision is a token of sacrifice of the flesh, which is no longer necessary. And I understand as women that physical circumcision is not applicable to us, but to give you some context, physical circumcision was representative of killing your fleshly desires and seeking Jehovah, desiring his ways. Now, we are supposed to die to the flesh in order to live and grow in the Spirit, which I'm going to go to Romans chapter 2, verses 25 through 29. "For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keepeth the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law? Judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision dost transgress the law. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Jehovah. Don't go to the letter of the law. Don't touch Mount Sinai. It doesn't matter if somebody is physically circumcised. If they are a transgressor, then their physical circumcision is made a spiritual uncircumcision. You have to have a Hebrew heart that loves Jehovah above all else.